Okay, it's episode 140 of Inane Blather. The show where we blather inanely, and the audience of clapping seals just repeats over and over and over again.
This is absolutely lit.
And I forget to turn it up.
This is lit.
That's how it goes. That's what it is.
That's what they say after you turn it up.
All of the live shows, yeah. It's just like kind of like a, like stomp, stomp, clap. It's like lit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Every time. I don't know who started the trend.
Go faster and faster until everyone's like, just like in this like wild,
frenzy.
Delirious state. Yeah, exactly. And people just like take off like a top, you know?
Like, gosh, look at you guys. And here I thought.
Mental illness is when you're right wing.
But I guess not. And then I get in trouble for calling people mentally ill and blah, blah, blah. Then we get canceled. And then we're back to this at episode 140 where we get like 50 views / listens total. Back to the drawing board. Okay. So.
Those are the options.
Yeah. So be prepared.
So you're saying it can't get worse than this. That's good to know.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
Kind of doubt it. But yeah. I mean, at the end of it, you'll just be saying...
They're calling it 9/11, but good.
And counting yourself as one of the many, as part of the collective, as an individual, just like the other individuals, you will know yourself to be a...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
That's true. Inane Blather.
Inane Blather to you.
Uh-huh.
Inane Blather.
So, we were already doing small talk, playing a little catch-up, playing Putt Party, where we are professionally ranked. All three of us. Putt Party on Discord. Yeah, if anyone wants to get into the Inane Blather Discord, too bad. No. And play Putt Party with us. That's always a blast. And it's our pregame. But we were going over small talk and stuff. Danae is back.
Back, baby!
Like we
all those
mentioned
Danae-sayers
so
can
back.
Shut up. Yeah.
Yep, the Danae.
We're so back.
What did R.M. Brown say? The Danaes and the
Danaes and the
Days?
Days.
The Days.
That's
yeah.
We have our fan
right.
base is split, you know, with people thinking Danae is either just hot or just smart.
Yeah.
But I am a unifier, and I know she is.
Yeah. They say, well, you call her Danae
I was
going to
say neither, but I didn't want to make that joke.
Yeah, Denaether.
I almost
Yeah.
Danae because it's her name, or Daye because it's more positive. You know, either
Very
way,
positive.
all I hear is people from each side of that now global conflict just telling each other, you know,
Go
like,
kill yourself. Go sit in the middle of
It's
the road
crazy.
and shut the hell
It's
up,
divisive.
bitch.
we're in a divided country. We live in a divided country. And honestly, Danae coming back to this country doesn't help. No.
Yeah. It's actually, made our trade relations worse. It's made the political rhetoric worse, you know.
I don't know.
They're
Danae comes back immediately. Trump has a trade deal, you know? I mean,
maybe you did something when you were over there in Asia. You talked to
Great
went over
Britain
to
while you were
China?
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
just went over to see my friends in China.
Oh.
Yeah, I did do that.
The CCP. Yeah, you know me. So, oh boy.
Come on.
What I heard about the trade deals in Britain was that it was essentially like a memo. Like it was like something so incredibly meaningless that it wasn't really like it's not like a trade deal as much as
Can
it
you
is
imagine
like
any of their stuff being like really fully fleshed out and professional and
that's like
all
most
this-
of the stuff that they. Okay, you know what? Yeah, it's great. Danae, you're back. Great, cool. Whatever. No, but
Okay,
just
Natalie.
to jump right into it. You know what? It's really
Oh, is it my phone?
okay. For one thing, they're not really doing much besides like literally grabbing people and deporting them to El Salvador or whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, like a lot of these, like the problems, stock market volatility, is not because stuff is like happening. It's because they're like saying things.
Yeah.
They're just like saying things are going to happen. And that's the case for like a lot of these executive orders, not just like trade wars or implementing. It's just like anything. They're just like issuing essentially kind of like their wish list, their statements, or like they're not like doing anything. But they also, something that's really been getting my goat is like RFK being a really great example.
Is my neighbor.
Is like,
and I want my goat
yeah.
back.
How they get to, for one thing, not do anything and just say they're going to do something. RFK be like, oh, I'm going to take like these additives out of your food. And it's like, well, that's great. You know, there's been people advocating for that for decades, genuinely. It's like it already doesn't, you know, these are not in products in like Canada and Europe and all this kind of
yeah,
stuff.
stuff that's illegal in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, another one, like Trump is like saying he's going to reduce, he's like put out a statement or whatever he did today, you know, whatever it is that says prescription drugs have to come down like 80%. The price. That's not like something that's happening. But
that's an executive order.
It's something, well,
supposedly.
but those are just like, what does that even mean a lot of times? Even executive orders can be pretty meaningless.
Yeah.
Like they don't really have like the power, but then they also get to be like, oh, look at how helpful I am. When, for one thing, you're not doing anything. And also, people have been trying to work for this for a long fucking time. And the people who have been standing the most in the way for these issues is like the Republican Party. Like food regulations and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you know, that's like some liberal fucking hippie, you know, namby-pamby, wanting more government regulation. That's been the story this whole time until RFK suddenly says it, and now you're like a patriot if you're like, make America healthy again. It's like, and all you did was
so what, you
tell
want
Michelle
more
Obama
regulations?
She's a stupid ape. Yeah, for wanting kids to eat healthy. And now you're like, yeah, the government should be more involved in like making sure that we eat right. And people who have been advocating for like lower costs of like prescription drugs and those kinds of things, like a lot of the, oh, you just you want everything for free, you want little handouts and everything, and now Trump is like, let's reduce prescription drug prices, which he hasn't done anything yet and hasn't really, and they'll be like, look at this guy, he's so great. Oh, do you hate that? Do you hate that
it's just a
that
deadline.
He's going to lower drug prices and like take out food additives? And it's like, no, of course I don't hate that, but I don't think that they should get praise for finally for using that. They didn't do that because they give a shit. RFK, I don't know what his deal is, but
Oh, it's
Trump
eugenics.
Yeah.
There. Well, besides that, you know, like he might have always been kind of like a anti,
because he thinks they're giving kids
whatever.
autism.
Yeah, because he's fucking weird and stupid in his own way. But it's like Trump couldn't give less of a shit about prescription drug prices. It's not been like his campaign. It's not like Bernie coming out here like for 30 years being like, healthcare should be affordable for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, then they get to stand on top of the fact that they have just saying that they're going to do something that they haven't done shit about, take all this credit for something that they didn't even come up with and have actually, their party has actively fought against. They have, like, we would have these things if you guys would have allowed for some fucking regulation to happen already.
Yeah.
You know? The way that this happens, executive orders, do you know what that fucking means? You know, that's like
big government
regulation?
Yeah. It's like, and on top of that, and then they get to put that out, make a killing in the stock market, however they so choose.
Yeah, by shorting pharmaceutical companies, for sure.
And only investing in certain ones where they already have insider information, of course. And then Trump gets to go out and talk like a fucking American socialist and get praised for it by his own people. He's like talking about redistributing wealth from the rich to the working class just the other day. And then with his drug prices thing, even saying, I mean, he gets to go out there and you know, do a tight five on like, hey, you know, these companies, you know, they give me money and stuff and they're not going to like it, but I don't care. I don't care what they say. I'm going to do this because it's right. You know, it's like, God damn it. Like, it's like, not only is, like you're saying, it probably won't work correctly because it's an executive order that just says, hey, you got 30 days to lower your prices or else.
And what does that mean for private companies?
Yeah,
They're
and,
like, no.
and he gets to get that populist support for good reason, because doesn't matter who you are, that would be a good thing if Trump can do it. I mean, the Trump administration made the COVID-19 vaccine. And it's like the reverse of that, where it's like he gets to pick and choose what his base likes and what bumps him up and where he gets support and like financial support through these inane actions of the executive branch.
Inane mention.
But yes, yeah, exactly. Oh, geez.
And you start off with a blather?
Yeah, but
And then when other people talk about it, though, Kamala Harris talking about price gouging for food items, then they get to be like, she's a communist, she's Stalin, she's Che Guevara,
Price
whatever.
controls.
When it's like, wouldn't that have been in a real society? Wouldn't that have been a great opportunity to understand what we have in common there? Like what people actually want, instead of it's like, so because people would like it if their food didn't cost so fucking much that they couldn't afford it. People do understand that there is price gouging when it comes to pharmaceuticals and all these kinds of things. America sucks so fucking much. Like these things where we could really be having like collaboration and be like an understanding of what people are deserving of and like limits to some of these things. Instead, it's like these Republicans, they just make it so fucking hard because I guess it's because they just don't
evil.
They just don't give a shit. It's like they just don't give a shit because it's the price gouging. It's like that is the same thing that she's talking about, but you're only going to use it when it's politically advantageous for you, and you will demonize it if it's the exact same concept coming out of someone else's mouth. And it's so unbelievably frustrating how incredibly polarized things are when all those fucking things we have in common, it would be nice if we could just have those in common. That would be really nice.
yeah.
Instead of just, being used. And again, Democrats, fuck you guys too, but the conservatives,
'cause they're not
man,
gonna
they
do
like
anything.
hate their constituents. They just do not want to do anything for them unless it is politically expedient for them.
Yeah.
Like, if it's
Well,
good for their careers, then
lip
they'll do that.
service.
And that doesn't even...
Lip
Yeah, it
service,
doesn't
not
even mean-
actual things to do for them. They still don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
They want to call it, communism to say you can't charge people too much for food, and they want to say Trump is a brilliant genius for not charging too much for medicine. And
Yeah, for lowering prices for
why are you-
people on
why are you-
essentials.
where's
Wow.
the line?
a
What is the line
mastermind.
for you guys?
Yeah.
I believe it when I see it, though. Like when I
Totally.
actually see things go down, I'm like, everything he says, I'm like assuming it's just trying to.
Sure.
He's just saying it.
I assume
Donald
that someone
Trump.
was like,
He's a
"Hey, you should
sleazeball.
probably say this so that we can, do something to the stock market tomorrow, and then we'll make a bunch of money." I got a Google alert over the weekend. It was like,
For Denays versus DeYays. Yeah, it was trending
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah, it was
That's
the
the
bloodiest
only
riot. Yeah.
Google alert I follow.
Yeah, it's that
no,
and
Where's Elon Musk?
the headline was President Trump floats the idea of de-escalating tariffs ahead of talks with China. And my thought was, this is the only
floating that
president
idea.
who just floats ideas.
True.
He just floats them.
Constantly. Like
Floating
turds in
ideas
a bowl.
all the time.
Just
That's
floaters.
like borderline what his executive orders are. Like that's what I mean. Like an executive
Somebody just
order
float
is
an idea.
something, but it can't do everything. You can't just say executive order, no more blue cars. And it's like, well, I guess you could, but it's like, I don't think you have like the
mean-
power to do that kind of stuff because there are a lot of checks and balances. Because it's like relatively limited, I think, in the scope of what that's supposed to be used for. And
Executive power.
I think it
has
says a
been
lot about like their
consolidated
intention
over decades.
for sure. And it does show their intention with things, but a lot of it is like it takes a long time to even hammer out what the fuck that even means. Like executive
apply it.
orders. Yeah, it's like, so how does this relate in all of these different aspects? If you're talking about the entirety of the federal government's like overseeing power, like what does this mean to all these like regulatory agencies, and what does that mean for like the average
Who's
person?
implementing
What does
it?
that mean for a business? What does that mean for a nonprofit? What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's like huge
And
undertakings.
You want to do that while you are slashing and just cutting federal jobs constantly.
And
Just get rid of
also
all these people
disappearing
and then
random
try to
people.
implement even more executive action. It's just a mess on
Cutting
purpose,
the FDA
maybe.
and then be like, cut out all these dyes and food
Yeah.
preservatives and all this kind of stuff. It's like, how? Who's going to do that? Who's
Yes.
going to oversee it? Who's going to make sure?
Good point.
The companies are that you're telling to, do more work and all that. It's like, yeah, I'm sure they'll be like
I'm sure.
totally honest.
I'm sure
and
he's a
transparent.
genius.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure.
Well, I was
Truly.
looking up I just Googled the executive order to see what it would say on it, and I got a big old Google thing, little splash pop up over half my screen. New! Try AI mode. Search whatever's on your mind and get AI-powered responses. Not interested. Just thought I could
Get it
tell you
out
that.
of my life.
Yeah, well...
I'm sure he's a genius.
I mean, AI, yeah, that's the thing. Oh, we don't have to talk about AI.
Oh.
But
I want to say something. It just reminded me because of Iluma, our favorite South African. I was going to say something. Okay, I won't. I can't say it. Okay. Our favorite South African. Yeah. I just saw this headline. It's straight up the onion. We live in this satire world where it's like a bunch of white South African farmers were just given, like, flown over, expedited asylum, like refugee status in the United States.
Oh
They're
my
all white South Africans
God.
because of all of the, well, I hear,
Yeah,
that
the wars.
their farms are being burned, people are being killed, blah blah blah, all those things. Like,
yeah,
it
they've
was
been trying
so
to push that
just
for a few years.
yeah, since like they ended apartheid.
Yeah.
Like that's been the it was just like, wow. So you're like, it's like you're letting in white people from an explicitly, I mean, like apartheid, eugenics loving kind of state. That's what everybody knows about South Africa.
Yeah.
I would say that's like a main huge part of their history that barely ended
That
in the
we
early
were
1990s.
alive. Yeah, when
Yeah.
they ended apartheid.
And you're gonna bring, it's just like so incredibly on the fucking nose. We're gonna bring some Germans from Argentina next, or what? Like,
Yeah,
genuinely,
picking and choosing when
it's
you're...
like you guys are, all of you white people are fucking sons and daughters of colonists, hardcore. Like, you guys really, hey, the United States, hey, our hands are not clean, but at least, the desegregation ended. Or, I mean, desegregation started in the 1960s for us.
Yeah. And we've been,
You guys had
we
a
still
long
have
time to go.
a big enough contingent of people still trying to make progress on that front, even though
And
it's still a
imagine if
very
it had-
racist country.
Just ended segregation if the Civil Rights Act came in like 1992 or something. Like, what a different, they're way behind, I would say.
Yeah.
And all these complaints about these poor white farmers, they're getting threatened and blah, 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 all this bullshit, which I'm sure, obviously, there's stuff that happens. I'm
Yeah.
sure some people
It's
get threatened. There's tensions
anti-colonial.
can be really high in places where, you've done an apartheid,
Yeah.
I would say. I think that's kind of expected.
Yeah,
but for
where
them
does
to
that happen?
expedite the asylum process, give them asylum, seeking it here because of those things, all of them fucking white, as they
Yep.
shut down the border
As
from
they
other countries.
deport previous asylum seekers with zero criminal record, deport, a 4-year-old child with cancer to Honduras, deport, sending people off to death camp in El Salvador. Yeah, it's like they bring them in. Meanwhile, pretty much a white guy born in New Jersey just got stopped on the way in. Hassan Parker. This man right here.
I need to see a dick.
That's what he was saying as he came in.
Because he said the Constitution can suck him from the back.
Yeah.
That's what they were like.
Man.
Oh no! Suck me from the back.
Yeah.
Can't say that.
And then he said,
Special forces break through the window behind me as they rappel into the fucking room, immediately put a black bag over my fucking head. They take me out. They throw my body off of the fucking current floor that I'm at in my hotel with a goddamn, rope. They put me in a fucking helicopter. They escort me.
No, but really, that goes on too long. But
This is politics.
he did get
They
stopped
did detain him.
because he speaks out about Palestine straight up. They asked him about his stream. They asked him about
They asked him if
the
he
work
liked
that
Donald
he did. Yeah, and they asked to look through his phone. All that.
And he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Like, I mean, let's see, I've got a bookmark here. Next to all of these, this thread of lemon law Cybertrucks, which is interesting. Untimely end after 10 months of ownership. But no, ICE detains woman who runs an anti-Trump TikTok. She's a U.S. citizen, born and raised. Detained for hours as agents searched phone and social media, even demanding financial statements on how much she earns on TikTok. Her clothing brand is named Trump for the Dump. Some sort of, anti-Trump resist lib on TikTok type of thing, who has a lot of followers, I'm sure. She donates the proceeds to organizations supporting LGBTQ rights, HBCUs, immigrants in Ukraine. Oh boy. Whoops. Phone's going off. The woman was returning from a European vacation to the Miami International Airport with a valid global reentry card issued to her as a U.S. citizen. Agents also interrogated her about her father. He's a U.S. citizen for 25 years, born in Panama. And even her, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like, wow, libs, you spend all this time about Trump for the dump, and it's like, I didn't necessarily believe these people, is what she said. Like, we have free speech. Why would this be possible, she asked, until this literally happened to me coming into the United States. It's like, yeah, that's the thing.
That's why you want Trump for the dump.
Yeah, because, I mean, Three Arrows just put out a video about kind of updating his previous video from a couple years ago about America's upcoming Weimar moment and the kind of space that we're in where you're in between like this kind of, on this decline, this collapse of like democracy, like democratic input and institutions, before you're actually like a fascist dictatorship, like in the ending days of Weimar Germany, and how similar a lot of things are and how unique it is for America too. Just the speed at which all of this is happening, how they do not care at all about the actual consequences. You can't even go, be like, oh yeah, now they have these judges, they're on their side, so when it goes to court, they don't give a fuck about things going to court. Like, look at that guy that's in El Salvador. He's still not back. Like, and he was, they said that he had to come back. They have to facilitate his return. That hasn't happened. And they don't care about constitutional crises that will arise. It's that period where, I mean, it's not just like testing the strengths of these institutions that these poor liberals are seeing just failing around them. Like everyone was trying to tell them in 2016 when this fucking fascist got elected, and there were no, like...
That's what I said.
bulwarks or whatever. Nothing constructed to prevent this from happening at all. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. Now he gets to come in with minimal popular support and with decades of, like we were saying, executive power consolidation behind him, and just start doing whatever the fuck he wants. And like Steve Bannon had said, I mean, shout out to what R.M. Brown, I think, brought it up, how openly it's like, it's not even like a conspiracy of like, oh, they just keep doing all these things to distract you. You know, there's all of these things going wrong so they could keep doing whatever they want. No, that's literally what they're doing. It's just throw everything at the wall. They're violating every norm that they can, every norm that they want to, violating the law, whatever laws they want to, because no one can keep up with it. That's the plan. That's the point.
Yeah, I think that part of it also was like, even with like the whole impeachment the first time around, was the test, right? Of like, how much can he get away with?
And we failed.
Oh, a lot. Got it.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything he did. He didn't get punished in any way whatsoever. He got reelected.
He got rehired.
And all of those people that he put into positions of power just stayed there. Like, it's just such a small, I mean, I don't think small, but such a it's like a little microcosm, like just some real, whatever, it's a Monday blathering. I can't think of the words that I want to think of, but such a great example of that is the fact that Joe Biden never changed the fucking USPS head, like, is insane to me. Like, the fact that they didn't completely revamp the U.S. Postal Service after everything that they did leading up to 2020, trying to destroy the Postal Service, put all of these people in charge who want the Postal Service to fail, all of this stuff, and then, but, it's just, that's who was put in there, it's just like they treated it like as an FBI director or something. It's a nonpartisan, just whoever was in charge, put him in charge. What the hell are you doing? Like, the slate should have been wiped clean, but nothing. We did nothing.
Well, I'm going to say, not to victim blame, but at some point, these norms are going to have to unite so they stop being violated. All you norms
yeah.
being
Stop
violated.
Getting violated. What were these
I don't know what to
norms
tell
wearing,
you.
Natalie? Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not to victim blame, but you guys keep getting violated.
Yeah.
Norm.
What's the point of even pointing them out?
Also, Humby just brought me tea and a scone.
Ooh.
Sorry, back to USPS since
okay,
that's
yes.
something I know about.
That's Danae's realm.
Yeah.
Kind of.
She's the queen of the realm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm talking about you. Trump did appoint Danae as head of the,
Well, did you see that they actually so the guy that he had appointed resigned a month and a half ago ish or so.
The bald guy?
Yeah. DeJoy.
Yep, he resigned.
Yeah.
They just appointed a new guy today.
Oh, great. Oh, I didn't even realize
a couple days ago. And it's a board member of FedEx.
God damn it.
Hell yeah. Oh.
Not even one of these private companies, the worst one. FedEx. Gross. No.
Just like straight up a board member.
God, that's crazy.
That's so funny.
It's just so open and apparent. It's just,
This is politics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they named him Postmaster General.
Great. I mean, and
Anyway,
that, does that take okay, let's learn on the air. Does the Postmaster General have to be approved by Congress?
No.
Okay.
It's not a government position. The the USPS is like an interesting
Yeah,
thing because
it's
it's like
own entity.
it's a private business that also it receives government funding. But it's not technically but it is like you are a federal employee, but like you're not,
because you're paid by the federal government is why, right?
Yeah, but it's not but it's funded by it's not funded by taxpayers. It's funded by the money they make off of postage, and that's about
but
it,
they don't.
so.
But they can't make all the money back. I mean, they made sure of that during the Bush administration.
They run a deficit.
Yeah, so
Currently,
it's like I don't know
yes.
how they
Correct.
just run the deficit like that as its own thing. But they also just can't be eliminated because it's a constitutional requirement. But also, the Trump administration has no problem just saying
The Constitution can suck me from the back.
over and over again, and all these
the back.
so-called patriots just gobble it up like a tuna can Danny DeVito chode, like we were saying before the show started. So, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were.
yeah, just the whole back and forth on. Yeah, on one hand, they go through. They're slashing everything they can. They want to eliminate so much of the government as possible. Waste, fraud, and abuse. They believe in Doge and that horse shit. And then on the other hand, just want it to be able to do whatever the whim of their fearless leader president is. And when he says something is good, they believe it's good. You know, even if it's redistributing wealth for some reason, or or cutting prescription drug costs. But, man,
I would love it if he actually redistributed wealth. That'd be amazing.
yeah. But it's just another one of those things too, where he's talking about. It's like, how does that even? How?
Whose
Like
wealth?
it's what are you pushing congressional legislation here? Are you going through tax code changes? What are you talking about? You're talking about cutting taxes for everyone. I don't know how you're raising these money. What you think that you're making money off tariffs, and then you know, or you think that money should come from billionaires and get back to the working class, like suddenly in 2025, that's what you're talking about, and just are able to, like Natalie was saying, just say it and have nothing really come of it because you have no power to do so. And then the two-facedness of of every single part of this administration, like we're talking about, is, I don't know, or maybe they can do something because they do whatever the fuck they want. Congress doesn't do anything at all. Literally nothing.
Too divided. It's worthless.
Worthless.
What a worthless fucking government we have. Truly, it is astounding how little we can get done when we really put our minds to it. You
Yes.
know? Just like how divided, how oh my god.
Yeah.
They
They wouldn't even be able to pass a
that's all
bill.
I'm
Like,
thinking of.
Trump could come out with an executive order just saying that.
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
And then, like you're saying, how do we implement that? Who writes the
we
actual
gonna get the
regulations? Yeah. Who is who's
gonna hire
even
people
working
to
in the
flush the
offices to make sure that,
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
I don't know. And he knows that if he puts that executive order in, these libs are just going to say,
Trump's a racist, they scream. Stop him!
just trying to use an
Exactly.
old drop.
And
But-
again,
This is
you know,
propaganda.
it comes. Sorry, what were we gonna say, Zane?
Oh, we're gonna just have to build a factory to like make the toilet
Yeah.
flush counters.
Yeah. Yeah, just create
And-
like a work program.
Yeah. So,
Well,
what were you gonna say, Nat?
I forgot.
That's
I'm
great.
thinking about a factory of toilet flush counters. But,
yeah, just more bureaucracy,
He's
even though they
creating
say they're
jobs.
against it. You know, if Obama did this toilet counter program
And
in the 2000
then we
follow up
just-
to the 2008 crisis.
It's another example. It's like, and I get coming into that kind of territory where it's like there are things we can agree on. That sounds like sometimes like compromising with, people you don't really want to even be working with to begin with. But that's just the way that it is. And that's the thing is like, Democrats are really willing to concede, obviously, and concede, and the Republicans never ever do. So nothing is ever really going to come of this, and it's a real bummer because then they get to do this populist messaging and nothing comes of it. So people continue to have the wrong idea about populist, progressive ideas because they keep associating that with the left, which stuff keeps not getting done because it gets blocked. And then stuff that would be like helpful and is actually in this same realm is just said it's going to happen from the conservatives, and they're just not going to do it. They just are like gonna just fucking talk about it or whatever. Just literally just like say whatever. They just like say whatever they want. They just say whatever they want, and it doesn't have any sort of depth. They're just...
It's called acting.
They're so fucking good at politicking on the right. I can't even stand it sometimes. Watching Trump in that interview, I was like, he is, unintentionally or not, whatever, he is a master at feeding his base, evading questions. He is Teflon motherfucking Don. He knows exactly the stupid bullshit that his supporters will just slurp down. He's so good at it. He's because if you just fucking lie,
genius.
when it comes to lying and manipulating, he is.
Yeah.
He's like so good at being just sleazy and totally and completely untrustworthy. Like anything that he says, like Danae says, she's like already thinking it's like, oh, they're probably just making money on the stock market behind this, or he's probably doing something like this, or he's just fucking lying, because
just passing
you can.
the time.
And then you know what?
Just saying
You know what?
something.
You get elected again for being that kind of person.
Yeah.
Oh man. God damn.
But
This country.
And then the things that he actually does are either, for one thing, it's funny, it's like we said, suddenly somehow completely the reverse of the values that he's always campaigned on, suddenly saying like these actual like progressive populist stuff, or he's like they're negotiating with Hamas, negotiating with the Houthis, calling the Houthis he said really courageous,
Something like fine people or whatever
and stuff
along those lines.
It's either like that or the things that they actually implement go horribly. Look at the tariffs and stuff. I was just in Seattle last week and went to the yearly trade association conference and stuff, and all of these just rabidly, it's so funny. Every year they claim, hey, and we work with people on both sides. We're bipartisan because that's how you have to be. But they even like this is for the first year. I think even one of our lobbyists, he said, he's like, but I know who I'm gonna vote for, and it's like, yeah, we know. Like you're all like right winger capitalists and millionaires and stuff that make any of the decisions in this room. But anyway, our yearly returning economist for the nationwide trade association economist, Oxford trained British guy that we get to see every year, he can't stand it. He thinks the tariffs are stupid. Literally said some of this. He's like, and you don't even know what to expect. This administration has been just kind of these throwaway comments from a guy who will, complain about like how communist rent control will never work. But at the same time, it's like these tariffs are horrible. Like they don't help anyone. They don't help you guys. They don't help the consumers. And they're implemented in a haphazard way that don't work. Like it's just this confederacy of dunces, but then it's like, but then somehow we just keep rolling towards a fascist dictatorship because, like, they're still just doing what they want and deporting people and rolling back rights. I mean, gay rights are next. That's for fucking sure. And they're deporting U.S. citizens. There was someone in Spokane. I saw it on Twitter. 44,000 likes. Martin Diaz came to the U.S. as a toddler, fleeing cartel violence. His family had proof of the danger and hope for safety here. He married a U.S. citizen, and after years of waiting, their visa case finally moved forward. Days later, he was like days away from like becoming a full-fledged U.S. citizen after all of this, like, amnesty application for like asylum, seeking immigrant fleeing cartel violence. Days later, ICE showed up at their Spokane home with no warrant, no ID, and no regard for the law. His wife wasn't home, but a roommate filmed everything. There's a video. When asked for a badge number, the agent said, "None of your business." Then they assaulted Martin and dragged him away and took him to jail. And now ICE is charging him with assault on on their officers. And it's like, that's, let's see. Oh, gosh, Kendall Diaz spoke out at the Spokane Fights Back rally. Deportation is not an option. And this is not, the liberal side of the state either. But, of course, for so many people, like that TikToker, it's like, I guess you're just going to have it, like, happen in your face or something like that. Meanwhile, thousands of people are being like gonna be like disappeared, and no one was left to speak out for me, kind of thing, is what it comes to. I mean, it's what so I'm thinking brazen. Is
brazen. That word, it really does
much more than that purse stealer, brazenly drinking, brazen booze hound.
What I'm thinking right now is, if a cop is trying to arrest you, it should be okay to fight back. Yeah. I think that there shouldn't be a charge for assaulting. Yeah, like resisting. It's like, you have to catch me, motherfucker. So do your best. Yeah. You got a taser.
This is like you want to talk about human nature, like I'm being like kidnapped. I mean, I'm being brought in against my will, whether I did something wrong or not. Like, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you should be able to fight back. Maybe, if they haven't pulled a gun on you, you probably shouldn't pull a gun on them. I would say, if they're bringing a knife, you bring a knife. If they're bringing a gun, you bring a gun. So if they're
I'm sure the
trying
NRA
to
would be on your side too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
for sure.
Fucking pieces of shit. Where are they? Where are all the Second Amendment people? Like, why are they not showing up with guns when ICE shows up?
Because they're having sex with them.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they're well lubricated,
with all those liberal tears.
Yeah, this is not a good lubricant, I would imagine, for a gun. Some salt water.
Salty.
But it's like, this is government overreach. It's been only 4 months, not even, of this. And that's the crazy thing. We've only had a quarter of a year of this. It's already a nightmare. It's way worse than the first administration. Like, because they did nothing to stop this. As a matter of fact, some of them go along with it. And you tell you, there's immigrants and then people that speak out against Israel. Pff, good luck. Good luck getting the Democrats to help you on that. Straight up. I mean, Hassan gets detained at the airport, and right-wing Twitter as it is It's like half the people, including a bunch of liberals, they're like, what, are you finally being brought in for supporting terrorism like you should be? Where it's
Except for, you know what? It's not illegal to support terrorism. It's not. You can like whatever you want. There's literal...
it is, but...
There's literal fucking Nazis. There are Nazis. There are Nazis.
It's called freedom of speech.
I can say I fucking love Hamas. I love Hamas. I love Hezbollah. I love the Taliban. I love Al-Qaeda. That doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I love Kim Jong-un. I love North Korea. I love Russia. I love Lucy. I love Iran.
Hey, let's slow it down here. Whoa.
Don't get so gay. Yeah.
As long as you follow it with...
I believe Israel has a right to defend itself unconditionally from...
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. But yeah. Freedom of speech. Technical difficulties. So this will all come back. Freedom of speech.
Disrupting our freedom of speech.
Yes, exactly. I think the NSA is listening. So they filled up my hard drive with a bunch of Inane Blather.
Yeah.
But
Rude.
but yeah, that's the thing. It's like, sure, it's not legal to like send money to Hamas or get money from Hamas, but it's supposed to be just, it's just freedom of speech. Like, you can't just be arrested for supporting Hamas. And it just reminded me, too, it's like how these people get deported, and it's like, well, they're gang members, and they're arguing over whether a guy is an MS-13 or not, yada, yada. It's like, it's not illegal to be in a gang. Sorry. It's like, how many fucking gangs are in the Los Angeles Police Department or the Sheriff's Department? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Good Lord. It's like, it's not illegal. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at this point. Nothing matters. That's our...
None of it. Nothing really matters.
And if you think anything matters,
You're a fucking bitch.
You're a bitch.
You're a loser.
And you might as well
Truly.
wear diapers because you're a baby.
Yeah.
And the United States, it just, as a civilian, I can't just do whatever I want like the United States government does. Because you know what they do? They literally give guns to the cartels, like down in Mexico, with tracking devices on them. And then when the cartels are like, oh shit, these have tracking devices on them, let's get rid of these tracking devices. They do. And then they just have a bunch of fucking guns from America. Like, literally, that's what happens. Like, talking about supporting crime and organized terrorists or whatever you want to say. It's like all these groups. It's like, that's you guys. You guys did that. All these people in the Middle East with all these American-made weapons and distributed and all that kind of stuff. You guys get to decide. I want to throw my support behind the terrorist group I support.
At least moral support. I should be allowed to do that, but no, you're not allowed to.
If you can be
thought crimes.
A Nazi, you can be an open and proud Nazi in America. You can be...
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to do.
You can be in the Trump White House.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, there is no...
Okay, I'm cutting that. That's
no.
You can be an open, proud Nazi, and that's fine.
That's
Natalie,
fine. You know what?
Natalie on May 12th.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's fine as far as legally, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can just, like, believe that. And, like I'm saying, like, if you can believe in whatever God you want, why can't you believe in whatever terrorist organization you want or whatever you want to call it? It's like, if I can believe
fine.
that...
Freedom of speech,
whatever,
fine. It's my
like,
freedom of religion. Never mind. It's a different part of the First Amendment.
This is actually, I worship Hamas. So,
in this
are you going to
house,
infringe upon
we
my...
worship Hamas.
We worship
they're just
Hamas.
Gonna call it,
and
they're going to call it
Hezbollah.
anti-Semitism, and then they actually are outlawing that.
That's true. See, that's the way around it. Is number one, like you can throw your moral support behind it, whatever. It's a freedom of speech issue or whatever, or like how it's like, well, it's not illegal to be in a gang unless that gang was designated as a terror organization. Then it is just illegal to be part of it, which now, or it's like on the other end, with the speech angle, it's like, well, they're literally going to make it illegal. I mean, anti-Semitism is horrible, of course. It's like one of the oldest forms of hate, yada, yada, yada.
Hate racism, obviously.
Exactly, yeah. It's like we don't support that. But when they can craft a law saying that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic, then already you have a roundabout way of just putting people in jail for what would have been protected free speech, of just anti-war speech, really. Like, not only is just that
because
anti-genocide,
Israel is not all Jews. Israel is the Israeli government. It doesn't even fucking matter that they're Jewish. I don't care. I couldn't care less, honestly. Whatever the ethnic background is of the person in charge calling this other group of people animals, I really don't care. I care that they're a government. They're a head of a government, head of a military. They have incredible power over people. That's what's important. It doesn't matter what the main religion
they're supported
is
by the United States.
Or the history really of the ethnic background. It matters like what they're doing right now that you can have some control over as an American, which is like one of Humbia's friends is like, she's Jewish, and they've had some conversations. She's been like, well, why don't people protest this, and why don't they protest this over there? And it's like, well, people do, for one thing, these other conflicts around the world and horrible things happening, but also all these other conflicts aren't directly funded by our tax dollars. That's the thing where it comes with like Israel. It's something that it's like, no, but that is something that we can very immediately change and have an impact on, because we are actually funding this. Some of these other problems we're just ignoring, or we're just like, we just have no part, and we're just like not doing anything about it, and people are just starving or whatever. And this one, it's like, no, like we have a line item in our budget for like Israel, and it's a lot too.
Yeah, and even before October 7th, though, and bringing it up would make you sound like some either right-wing anti-Semite or a conspiracy theorist, when it's just like we've just been... It's so funny that it's like the U.S.-Israel relationship could be have such manufactured consent over this entire time, when it's so obvious to anyone who's grown up, post 9/11, or just even before that. Like, the U.S. fucks around in the Middle East. That's its big partner in the Middle East. Duh. Like, it's pretty simple if you want to simplify it like that and not immediately be skeptical of any of these so-called conspiracy theories about how, money can influence politicians and their views on not just Israel, but like our participation in conflicts in the Middle East, yada, yada, yada. But even before October 7, like, anti-BDS laws existed. Like, it was just such and it always drove me crazy. It's like, why is that not something that comes up more often from people on the left? It's like, how another brazenly unconstitutional thing, in my opinion, it sure seems like that, as of right now, because 2024, who knows? Yeah, I wanted to use it again. But 38 states have passed bills and executive orders designed to discourage boycotts of Israel. I mean, places like Texas, like, it's straight up illegal. Like, BDS is like illegal there. Like, it's how it has been. And it's like unfathomable. I don't get it. Like,
cannot fathom it.
So you can't even say, like, maybe you don't say, well, you can't go out there and publicly protest because then you're supporting terrorism. You can't even do the dumb age-old American thing of saying it with your dollar in the marketplace, because boycotts of companies, specifically to boycott Israel because of its actions, are illegal in these states.
That's because it's America.
But you know what's funny?
And we have freedom of choice.
I was just trying to figure out how many states it was, and now it's 38. I don't think it was that many before, but
damn.
Yeah, Washington is not one of them, but one of the few. But yeah, separately, the U.S. Congress has considered anti-boycott legislation in reaction to the BDS movement. The U.S. Senate passed, what is that, S.1, Senate Resolution 1, or whatever those things are, which contained anti-boycott provisions on January 28th, 2019, by a vote of 74-19. The U.S. House passed a resolution condemning the boycott of Israel in 2019, 398-17.
Hell yeah.
Like, they're just all on board with saying, like, no, you're not allowed to voice this opinion on a foreign nation.
And then conservatives still going to be like, all these Democrats love Hamas. All these people these Democrats just like, they hate Israel, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, who in charge? It's like all of them voted in this thing in 2019. I don't even know who 18 people were. Probably just like some libertarians and
yeah, I wonder. I'll have to look at the
but it doesn't matter. But and just like the vote is like definitely nonpartisan.
Yeah, yeah, it's completely bipartisan. But at the same time, so according to University of Maryland's Critical Issues poll from October 2019, so that year after they've passed these resolutions like condemning the boycotts of Israel, let's see, 72% of Americans oppose these laws penalizing people who boycott Israel. And it's like,
hell yeah. We don't care
pull your
what
hair
the majority
out.
of you guys want.
What the fuck? Where, like, why? And it's because, I mean, you get like the Zionism that's, you know, baked into so much of like the discourse at like the national level, like these geopolitical stuff. It's just Zionism in the U.S. It's crazy. But and, you know, I mean, it doesn't hurt that Islamophobia is totally acceptable. I mean, that's half the reason that some of these people are Zionists.
Islamophobia is totally acceptable.
Totally acceptable. But that's how Hassan says it. He's like, anti-Semitism is completely unacceptable. Everyone knows that. But for some reason in America, you know, Islamophobia is pretty much acceptable. And that's how we've seen it for 20 plus years now, of course. That's the way that it goes. But
when September 11th happened, there were Muslims jumping up and down in the streets and on the rooftops, is what Donald Trump said.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And yeah, Donald Trump would say that. And I mean, it's just what everyone got to move on to instead of just saying
the N-word.
You know, now they just get to talk about the people from the Middle East, and sometimes people from Africa.
They have their own N-word for that, and the N-word is a part of that, too.
Yeah, really.
I've heard people say that, and they get to use it. You know, they do anyways.
That one out. Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck did you actually just say? I can't even believe you would say something like that is, like, truly insane to me. But what do I know?
That's what you hear in white America. It's disgusting, but it was really funny. Oh yeah, I was saying I just looked up the Wikipedia article just to see like how many states it was right now. But there's the Wikipedia article, anti-BDS laws, in italics, not to be confused with anti-BDSM laws.
BDSM. Yeah. Nice.
So, criminalization of consensual BDSM practices usually does not involve explicit reference to BDSM, but results from the fact that such behavior as spanking or cuffing someone could be considered a breach of personal rights, which in principle constitutes a criminal offense. Wow, jeez. It's like in Germany, Netherlands, Japan, and Scandinavia, such behavior is legal in principle. In Austria, the legal status is not clear, while in Switzerland and parts of Australia, some BDSM practices can be considered criminal. Wow. Huh. Good
You
old
learn something
international
dumb every day.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's like, did you know that, 38 states have passed some sorts of resolutions, if not laws and executive orders, to outlaw BDS? And did you also know,
Yeah.
in some parts of
That
Australia,
in some places,
BDSM practices can be a criminal offense?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Best case scenario,
So
laws are
thoughtful.
unclear. Yeah.
So thoughtful.
But and if
Well,
you,
there's no question
oops. about
it that she deserves life term in prison, if not more. And by more, I mean execution for treason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what you get for saying I love Hamas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder, it's funny. It's like we have no, reach, but it's like everything gets transcribed. And I wonder if that gets, if we'll get a little thing under our YouTube video when it goes up. Like,
It should be like, careful.
yeah, where it's just like, oh, by the way, here's where you could research about the Israel-Palestine conflict, the genocide that's going on.
I mean,
right
it
in front of
definitely
all of
is
us.
a conflict, but it's definitely a little bit light, to put it that way, It's like they are in conflict with one another,
Yeah,
There is
exactly.
a conflict, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitionally may not be incorrect, but you're kind of leaving some
Technically
things out.
correct.
The
best kind of
correct. And you know what?
I will go to bed sleeping every night. I will go to bed sleeping every night. No.
Knowing that that's correct.
That's technically correct.
Mm-hmm.
The best kind of
It was worse than the
correct.
Chinese food I ate, which I already had diarrhea twice from.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's describes this episode.
Because I have some very personal shit to talk about. If you interrupt me again, I swear to God, you will be paying for it for a long time.
But after all this,
And I'm sort of regretting praying to God for this show to work well, because that seems to have bit me in the ass.
Yes.
But I did have in my notes here, I was talking about like that Oxford trained economist, but I also wrote more like Gadolf Schittler, so that's something.
Hey, have some respect. No.
Oh, and recommendation to the Zone of Interest. Hoo boy!
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested, it is on Max.
Mm-hmm.
It is on HBO.
I've heard of that before. What is that again?
It won the Oscar for
Best
international film.
foreign film or
Jonathan
something?
Glazer, loosely based on like the book and
about the Holocaust.
true events, and
Sort of.
the the banality of evil. It is about like the architect of Auschwitz and him and his family living just directly on the other side of the wall. And just
That's crazy.
Just
their
like living their lives.
Oh
like,
yeah,
drinking tea and like
beautiful
tucking
garden,
their kids into bed and stuff.
talking
and,
to the wife talking to her friends about, oh yeah, look at what we got now. This is from France, because they're just taking things from Jewish people that have been taken from them in the camps and stuff like that, and just this constant. It's crazy, like the beautiful beautiful garden and home. Like, gosh, the home is so beautiful. It's just the wood and everything's done so well. And just their mundane day to day, raising their children, and an ever present actual, just the audio. You just hear it, just the rumbling, and the churning of the literal fires. You hear the trains coming in. You hear gunshots in the distance and screaming every once in a while. Unending. Like, it is really something else. I haven't finished it yet. I've only watched half of it. And I was like, whew, I'm going to come back to this.
Don't tell me how it ends.
Yeah, really.
It turns out good for everybody.
But yeah, just how, I don't know. I mean, like, talking about true evil existing or something, and so often it's like, I don't know. I don't like believing in evil, like, as a thing, you know?
Yeah.
It takes things away from people. People do evil things, you know? And some of these people are so-called normal people, really, in a way. Do so many of the same things that you do, and they're doing horrifically evil things.
It said, like, kind of, they're, like, demystifying a little bit. Like, they're, like, these mythological figures, practically, like the Nazis who ran these camps.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, no, they were actually, like, they're not even, like, a Jeffrey Dahmer. They're not a Ted Bundy type of person.
No.
They're not, he's probably not the Nazi scientist cutting open pregnant women's bellies and putting cats inside of them and stuff like that. He's, like, the guy who is making sure this camp is, like, running. Oh God, I hate to say running well. Oh my God, how disgusting.
There's a scene,
you know, there's like a lot of administrative functions and stuff like that.
They're upgrading the furnaces and stuff like that. That's like, oh
and
my God.
They're just like people. Yeah. I mean, like, some of these motherfuckers ended up working for NASA. They're such normal people.
Yeah.
You know, they're like competent in this way, and just like, yeah, what would that, I guess, well, I don't know what kind of mind you'd have to have. You'd have to have some kind of course, like,
you have to be convinced.
Denial to this really, you really are a believer.
Yeah.
I
You're
guess,
convinced
which
that you're
is
doing the right
to be
thing.
in denial of all of the facts and stuff. So it's like interesting that you could just really get caught up in that.
And that's that difference.
A lot of people did.
These, where you have to wonder, these people in this, you know, on one hand, Three Stooges ass administration. On the other hand, like implementing like the downfall of the American Democratic Project. And it's like, how many of them are like, doing that, and they think they're doing the right thing because they're true believers, and they're just evil because of that, like Stephen Miller or something, or the people that just don't care, that literally their only true beliefs are in money, you know, and how both of those things end up being a means to the same end. But I don't know. But there's already, the infrastructure is laid right in front of these people to continue on that path and take us all to hell with them.
That one book I read really had this put out kind of in no uncertain terms. It was like a fantasy novel, had a lot of anti-capitalist, anti-colonialist messaging in it. And it was like the difference between these gods that they believe in, and the main character had a lot of privilege that she'd been using, and it hurt people the way that she used it. She didn't know that when she was doing it. She didn't know where magic came from and all this kind of stuff.
Affluenza.
And this other guy was like, it doesn't matter. You know, there's like these gods that we believe in. Some of them weigh your intention. They give that some weight when they decide whether or not you're a good person after you die, you know, if you led a good life. But your impact is weighted much more heavily.
And it's
that
now.
It doesn't really matter if you meant to do something good or if you didn't know better. The outcome was bad.
Yeah.
And that is a fact. And like that conversation going on there is like, Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a bummer to think.
If you run over a kid in the crosswalk because you're texting and driving, or because you're a maniac who wanted to run over a kid in the crosswalk, the kid still got run over in the crosswalk. You know?
Right.
But so then we get a bunch of these people running over kids in the crosswalk, metaphorically, and literally, probably,
And
because
literally
of-
with a Tesla.
I just saw a video, some lady doing her whole thing and just hands off the wheel on the freeway, full self-driving in her Tesla, where it's like, these people are on the road with us. Oh my God. I don't care that it's working
I've
well
been
right
in
there in
one.
the video. I don't want you to do that.
I've been in one where it was my friend's Tesla in Australia.
Now they have the updates with full self-driving. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's shouldn't be legal, in my opinion, but who's going to enforce that?
Not at those speeds, I feel like.
Just not at all.
feel
Like, the
like,
technology is not there, I don't think. Not when we're lemon lawing a bunch of 10-month-old Cybertrucks. I'm not going to trust that company to put everyone's lives in their AI hands, from the gamer CEO / Doge King political figure. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't trust it.
More
and
like
I won't trust it.
More like Gadolf Schittler.
Hey, and with that, yeah.
Good
Have
night.
a great, end on a high note. More like Gadolf shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't even get to talk about being a man being fat shamed by other men, but we'll talk about that some other time.
You did? You
Yes.
got fat shamed?
Oh yeah. No, it's just microaggressions, man. No. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to Aaron Brown, our Lord and
Everybody,
Savior.
our Lord and Savior.
Shout out to Brown.
Yeah, shout
I
out
am
to
getting so much abuse out there.
Oh my God, that's so loud, and I didn't even touch the. Oh my gosh, it's so loud that.
I am now a reactionary conservative.
Yeah, that's what happened.
too.
And for all of you out there, just think about Bill Maher. Think about different perspectives, and think.
Because there's like so much I would love to know about being a 21-year-old girl.
God.
Okay.
I hate that so much.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.